Welcome to Stampscaping, the Stampscapes lab, we'll call it that. All right, preliminary tests for the Art Foamies versions of the two Birch tree stamps. Half-page cards, really large and dramatic. I don't know, I guess image presence, when it comes to sizing here. But I'm going to try it on a couple different papers here, the wood grain paper, and then I got some of that craft style of paper like this. It's a uncoated matte, kind of textured style of paper. I mean, you've seen this type of thing before. And I just got it in, and I was thinking, oh, that would be perfect for this. The Art Foamies, I really like how the Art Foamies, I'm finding contour to all of the different paper irregularities. Now, this one's going to be smooth in relation to, or in comparison to, this highly textured, kind of waffled surface of this blue paper. It's hard to see that right there, but in just stamping out my rubber version of this sedge filler, it's like, oh my god, that's so textured. But the Art Foamies, it just slays textured papers because it gets into all of those little grooves, within the paper's surface. I'm surprised. I mean, you can see that down here. That's the sedge filler stamp, which is a grassy kind of filler stamp right here. All right. But the line quality from the Art Foamies impressions on a textured paper, I mean, you can't even tell anywhere. There's no texturing whatsoever. Let me see. Let me look up close. Yeah, nothing. It just goes into all of the grooves there. So that's a pretty good thing when you can use a textured paper and benefit from the textured paper with your coloring or, whatever media you use to finish your pieces off if you do that. But you can have the benefit of a clean impression within that surface. Okay, so let's give this a shot here. All right, I'm going to use the hybrid black here. I don't know. I haven't tested the hybrid black or hybrid inks in general on top of the printed wood grain paper here. Okay, so I don't know how that's going to accept it. I don't know if it will dry on here adequately or not. So, but let's give it a shot and see how it goes here. I don't know because the pigment ink on here, I can't remember how that did. And the dye-based ink stamped really lightly on this, okay? And this is a combination of both of those, in a hybrid ink. So, Stampscapes Lab, let's check it out. I suggest that when we go into our stamp studio, wherever you are, your stamping station, to think of it as your kind of your laboratory, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe like a art, studio or something like that. It's just kind of a different mindset. It gives you kind of the freedom to explore without any kind of, might have a hypothesis and, wish of how something's going to turn out, but it gives you the freedom really to open up to exploration. And, something's doesn't work out or isn't working out the way you expect it to. In a laboratory, you kind of tweak things and, you assess and just kind of move on from that. All right, that is a really fantastic impression on there. Let's see how... let's do a smaller one in the background here. Doesn't that look fantastic, though? I was thinking, okay, that wood grain is going to show right through these tree trunks here, and I know that, but I think it looks pretty cool. And then what I'll do is I'll use some kind of white embellishment on it with something I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking about my pastel pencil, my white pastel pencil. Okay. Boy, that looks really awesome. We'll see how that the craft looks on there too. I think the craft with that warm tone will look pretty good. But this wood is looking awfully, awfully good here. Okay, look at that. Okay, now this paper right here it's really smooth, okay? So I'm just going to use my sedge filler stamp to fill in some added texture. It almost doesn't need it, but, you know, why not? Okay. Like that. It's fairly subtle. Okay. And let's add on a little bit of a additional foreground here. And we're doing an art foamies kind of theme here, so let's use the larger reeds here. Oops. I didn't use adequate pressure here. I'm going a little bit too fast. A little bit of foreground, like so. Okay, now we'll see if this dries or not. But if it doesn't, you just do, you know, the same composition, but use a, I don't know, stays on ink, a brilliance ink, something like that. Those are known for, of course, faster drying and being able to dry on non-porous or less than porous surfaces, non-porous too. All right. Let's see, I had my there. Here we go. Art Foamies leaves. I used some green on there last night in the live stream. All right, I'm holding down a little bit longer with this one. There we go. I'm getting better impression. I kind of stamped a little bit quickly up there, and it gave me a kind of a lighter leaf, but it kind of looks cool because it looks like it's farther back in the distance. If you stamp out something that's really, really light, what you can do is you can utilize that, but then just put another one darker next to it, so it'll look like you have kind of a depth within that grouping of, in this case, foliage. All right, so we have something like this. And I did this one first because I wanted to see if it'll dry. Or I wanted to give it a little bit of extra time to dry too. All right, let's try it on the craft here. Let's go vertical. Let's mix things up a little bit. One of the things on the art foamies that I'm just being reminded of is that this black foam here, when you're stamping it out in black, it's hard to tell if you kind of have it inked up. Okay, let's go over here. And look at this. This is a half page, 8.5 by 5.5, like that. And you can, I mean, I could have even got more of this image into the card if I wanted to, but it pretty much takes up the length of that 8.5, which is really quite phenomenal. Yeah, this textured paper like this foamy version, especially with these slightly thicker inks. Remember, pigment inks, you know, pretty thick ink. It just has zero problems with any kind of textured papers, and matte cardstocks too. They're slightly textured, you know. That's why we can use oh, things like pastels and colored pencils on them, really easily because they have something to kind of grab onto. But oh, things like linens, things like that. I have a feeling, I haven't done it and tested them out on here, but I got to think that after these initial tests, it just has zero problem with that and getting into those grooves. So it's, I don't know, you can have potentially the best of both worlds in terms of matte style of paper techniques. In that, you can get those matte styles of appearances, but you can also have the benefit of a absolutely clean impression of your main images. All right, so let's see if I can fill this in with this. Yeah, see, this might sedge filler stamp in some ways. Well, okay, it's. I was going to say it's not stamping out completely smoothly, but yeah, it seems to be on this paper no problem. I thought it'd be a little bit more textured looking, but yeah, it looks fine. All right, now, my application of my sedge filler stamp, I could have taken the time to make that look a little bit more seamless by, when you ink it up, you just kind of blot off the edge a little bit, so you can see where mine gets a little bit repetitive like this. Where the two images overlap, it's a little bit darker because we have two impressions. But I'm going into it anyway with some extra grass like this that kind of breaks that up. Yeah, see, that's what happens with the craft there a little bit, or just matte paper. You just hit it a little bit heavier like this, and it's fine. But like I said, the art foamies just go into those grooves like super easy. All right, let's see, shall we use a little bit of foliage in here? There's something to be said for scale. And like I said, you can you can use these foamies with other imagery, other sorry, other stamp imagery. I've been talking too much here. Yeah, with no problem. So you can really push scale very easily. Okay, now this one, my inks are just absorbing really quickly and setting into this paper. No problem, so I know that one's going to be dry pretty fast. All right. All right, let's take a look here and make an assessment. All right, the leaves were the last things that I stamped out. I'm just seeing if I have... I think the ink on this paper is slightly damp, but it's not too bad. I mean, we really haven't allowed for a lot of drying time on here. All right, but let's test things out. Let's go on to it with a couple different types of pencils here. So I have a black colored pencil. It's a Prismacolor, so it's reasonably soft as far as colored pencils go. And let's add in some shading here, some shadows at the base of my trees. We'll tone in some of the trees too. So what we're doing here is we're kind of anchoring down our objects into the scene a little bit more. I won't do too heavy directional lighting, like really strong backlighting or something like that, which I often do for I don't know, whatever dramatic staging, I guess. But on this one, what I'm doing is the tree trunk is like this right here, okay? And then down here, what I'm doing is I'm doing this, but I'm kind of tapering this out a little bit so it's a little bit darker. And then as it moves away from the tree, I'm just doing that. Now, that's not necessarily what, that shadow would look like in nature, because there's going to be a canopy of trees overhead. So this whole area might be kind of evenly shaded. But for the purpose of this, I'm doing like visual anchoring, okay? I'm setting these pieces into the scene, and that's where kind of like artistic license comes into play. So it seems like they're sitting in there more, so I'm not really considering the canopy of overhanging tree limbs or something like that. This is just for us, because it looks better, okay? And that's where kind of we, make a, kind of make a statement as far as the difference between, say, something like, photography would be and original art. You do things for different purposes here. All right, now as I'm going on this, I'm going back to this ink here. The ink seems like it's working out fine. I'm going to do a little bit of directional lighting here on these trunks. I'm going to do a little bit of, let's see, left side illumination in here. So on the right side of all of these trunks, I'm shading them a little bit, okay? So I guess on some of them I'll go like this. I'll go on the bottom, then I'll come up in the top, and let's just do this one in the middle like that, okay? And kind of break it up a little bit, and it looks more natural that way. So this tree in the back here, I'll make it a little bit darker. And that makes this one stand out a little bit, closer to us. So you're kind of playing contrasts against one another too. You can go a little bit darker up top. Like this, where maybe there's some overhanging tree limbs. Making things a little bit darker like that. And then let's go in with our, the inks feel fine. Let's see, I don't have a bunch of black ink here from running my hand over it. Now we did some right side of the trunk shading, but now let's do some left side of the trunk. This is a pastel pencil. It's really cool. I didn't even know I had it. I thought it was a colored pencil. It was in my kind of toolbox from my school days. I probably hardly ever used it because it's practical, I don't know, it was probably this tall before. So I don't think I used it much. The pastel pencil, you'll need to spray seal this when finished. Just spray it with a workable fixative or something like that. If you have some hairspray and you don't have a fixative, then use that. But yeah, look at that. Isn't that fun to do? I'm kind of putting it, mostly on the left side of the trunks, but you have it go in the middle. Like I said, you can do it a little bit kind of uneven. You can have some right there, and you can come up here. I'm not doing this, super carefully, as you can see. Hopefully you can get that. It's kind of like scumbling it a little bit. Scumbling is where you kind of just, you do these little dabs. Now, here I'll put some kind of in the direction of the rounded forms. It's like rings around the tree. So I'm doing a slightly arced little mark like that. I don't know if you can really tell. See this right here? I'm going a little bit more kind of sparse. Right here it was kind of coloring a certain section of it. But now I'm just kind of doing these little line or form describing lines like that because, you know, the trunks are rounded. So you do this little rounded arc like that. I have these little things on the tree too, which I did in black on the design. So you can kind of follow my design, I don't know, kind of rendering marks on there. But look at that. It's pretty fun. And then we can put some little bit of this down here. I'm just kind of touching the page a little bit, surface with this pencil. Now you can do this in, if you don't have a pastel pencil, which a lot of you won't. I didn't even know I had one. You can do this with your colored pencil and just do it kind of lightly like that. But I think that makes for a pretty interesting and quick card. Don't you love it on that warm wood tone paper? God, that is really fun. Okay, let's try it on the craft here, okay? Let's go in with our shading. I'll just stay with the same shading convention here. Go on a little bit with the black. Here's this tree right here. Darkening the tree and back of this one a little bit, making that front one stand out, but we'll add a little bit of shade to it, like that. So this one right here, I'm going to leave that kind of lighter, and I'll put the shade up here because on this one right here, I shaded the back of it, so you go darker and then lighter right here. But still, we want a little bit of shading on it, right? Anchoring down. Maybe on this one I'll do a little bit more of a kind of directional light. I'll have maybe light coming from back in here. Could have been cool with the moon back there too. Kind of doing this, I'm doing, here's the tree trunk right here, and here's the sloping grass. I'm kind of going like this, and then I'm tapering that off a little bit like that, okay? So darker to lighter like that. So you go darker up here. Use a light touch though, okay? You don't have to get it in one pass, then you just go back and you can kind of light, you know, darken accordingly like that, okay? So that kind of sets that little shadow like that, and this one I'm going kind of in the opposite direction. I don't know, I guess I'm saying that the lighting is coming from right there. It's all kind of wherever you angle your shadows like that, that says where the lighting is coming from. Maybe I should be a little bit more careful here. Let's see. See, this one right here kind of goes off that way, that it should really be coming down here a little bit more. So let's see, let's add a little bit more down this way like that. Anchoring down a little bit more. The craft paper is a little bit darker, so I can go a little bit darker with my shadows. That. All right, see that right there? I mean, it's pretty quick work of it. There's, yeah, I know you're saying, well, Kevin, that's you. You know, I don't know. It's it doesn't take too much practice with that kind of little trick, shadowing trick. Okay. Let's go to our pencil. I just made a mistake here. I put the shadows like this and saying that the lighting is coming from here so that these tree trunks right here would be shaded on the opposite side here. I'll do this right here on this one. Like that. So it's a little bit, you know, more heavily shaded on this side now. I hope this will come to show you that, hey, you know, you can alter things. Okay, and now we have our white right here. And let's go on the opposite side of the tree for a little bit of that lighting here. So this right here, you're kind of just, like I said, it's almost like, I don't think they call it scumbling with hard media, but that's what they call it when you're doing painting. You're just kind of touching around here and there with it. Kind of with usually with a dry brush type of application of media. And then, remember those kind of form defining little marks like this. I don't know. This is pretty fun here. I did that colored piece yesterday, which I liked too, but this is a really killer application. It's killer application is something that I think they utilize in like software or I don't know, high tech. It's like coming up with some kind of thing that can do something, but it's really finding the application for it. It's like, okay, here we have this thing that does a certain process, but what is the really great application for it in the real world? Where is it going to, create value for people? In finding something like that for it. But these papers are really fun, quick and easy. Like that. See that lighting coming through there? Maybe I will add some sort of, I can add like a moon or something back there and just scribble it in. Or maybe we'll just leave it like that. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it like that. But all right, so learning a couple things about what this that is really fun. All right, sorry, geeking out here. I learned a couple things here. Okay, so the hybrid ink works really fantastic on this paper. That's a really good one. So that's Midnight Moonlight Night Opaque Blackest Black. It's pretty black, and it's of a really good consistency. I don't think it's going to dry on something like foils, okay? I'll have to test it out, but I don't think so. But you never know. Okay, so on this paper right here, I've been using StazOn and I think Black Brilliance ink, but here's an alternative for you. That's why I always say when you get these types of papers, mostly with the pre-printed ones, if something's matte and it's uncoated, just about anything's going to be able to be used on there. But I don't know, maybe kind of going with a little bit of a thicker ink gives us a better impression on there. I think that gives us a better impression on that craft paper than like a dye-based ink, which is going to be absorbing into that paper a little bit more. That's just my theory. I don't know. But here's these papers right here again. Really accepting of the media very well. These things came together really fast. Craft paper, looking good. I mean, that kind of that paper bag type of look has always kind of appealed to me. I used to wrap presents with kind of craft paper. My sister kind of taught me some of these little things like that, like craft paper, and then like tying like the ribbon instead of it's like a ribbon. It's what is that called? Is that raffia or something like that? That natural kind of, I don't know, fiber or something like that. I really like that look. But anyway, I mean, this the craft paper type of thing with these type of effects like this aren't anything new. It's what you usually do in like an art class or something like that. Instead of starting off on like white paper, you start off on, usually something like this and just go with white and black and focus on your lighting and shadows like that. But two pretty good options right here. We can take this one like this too, and you can kind of splatter paint some snowfall over it too. I think that would be pretty interesting. But anyways, these really make for a quick and easy foundation for other types of things. You can add in a little bit of color in here too. I think with colored pencils work really great on both of these types of papers here. If you're doing it with colored pencils, do it before the pastel, because this is kind of like a chalky, pastel type of surface on here. But I don't know if I added any different types of colors on here, maybe a little bit of slight greenish tinge or something like that. Nothing too major. Let's test it out here really fast. I'll just put it in a couple little areas in here just to give it a little tinge of kind of a hue change maybe, or not change, but a hue addition like this. I don't know if you can see it in there. See that slight greenish tinge in there? You can tell the difference between up there and down there. I mean, you can add more. You can add, like a darker green in the shadows if you want to. But I think that looks pretty good. Again, I'm barely applying any of this right here. It's just, I applied a little bit more there, but... apply too much there. Here, let's go over it with the, blend it out a little bit with the pastel pencil like that. Notice, can you see that little greenish tinge down there? I think that looks pretty cool. All right, so anyways, let me stop blabbing on right here. Quick and easy scenes, my gosh. If I just did one of these as a quick scene, I think it would take 10 minutes. I don't know, maybe 12 or something like that. Pretty good for a half-page type of card, but that's what going with pre-printed or just pre-colored backgrounds can do. They can really make some really fast and easy applications here. Here, this one came about really fast too, with that pigment ink moon in there. But cool type of application, cool color, and warm tone applications here. I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards the warm applications, but on this one right here, I just didn't, I couldn't find like a darker blue, but I think this one would look really dramatic in a darker blue, like a lapis lazuli, star dream or something like that too, to give you a little bit of shimmer in the sky. But that waffle textured surface like that, I need to see if I have some of that paper still. I think I have a pre-folded dark card that I'll have to try something with. I think that should be really fun. But oh my gosh, these were really fun here to do, and it's just kind of fun to see that something kind of developing really, really quickly. And I wouldn't call it haphazard application of the media here, especially with this white, but it certainly is pretty free form, just being able to kind of just scribble it on everywhere. And it's like wherever you put it, it looks fine, which is really awesome. So anyways, I'll get to spray sealing this one and it'll be done. So really fun stuff. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks as always for tuning into the Stampscapes channel. If you like this channel and this type of content, hope you hit the like button and subscribe.